the pandemic hit, you didn't feel like, damn, I'm gonna go back home?
Totally felt that way.
Do you believe everything happens for a reason?
Absolutely. So I really feel like I just do not want to live having turned every stone over and like trying it all. Content is kind of the new commercial. You are your own production. Not to say you don't need production, but if you can be your own production.
You ever wanted to get into like film?
For sure. I'm the girl next door for sure. We're
Like-
not really in the mix. We're just like there. No.
No, All right, welcome back to Bigger Than Goals podcast with your boy Suge Amos. Today I have the talented actor, commercial actress, model, entrepreneur, Chanice Ball.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, no complaints.
Thank
How's your
you
day
for
going?
having me. So far, so good. It's hot outside, but
Uh-huh.
it's cool in here.
Yeah.
So all is well.
So you from Boston?
I'm from Boston.
I don't know anything about Boston. Well, I know you guys cheat in sports, but you beat my Sixers, so
We
that's,
win.
I agree with that.
We're
I
the city
think
of champs. That's what we're known for.
that's what I will say. Boston is known to win. I will agree. So they create a winner in you.
Thank you.
So you live here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
What made you come to LA?
So I moved to LA almost 4 years ago now, and it was 2 years after I graduated college. And I think I moved for many reasons. The weather, for sure. I was so over the winter. I just couldn't take it anymore. Seasonal depression is so real.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
Is it really as cold as they say it is over there?
It's really as cold as they say it is. Maybe colder.
And it's cold most of the year?
I don't remember really because I've been in the sun so long now. But no, it is really cold. Like
Really?
I feel like summer is definitely a short window. Winter is super, super
Yeah, I've
long.
never seen like a sunny Boston picture.
Oh, Boston's actually really nice in the summertime.
Is
That's
it?
that's the time I would say if anyone's going to visit Boston, definitely go during the summertime.
Because I think about like the
Wintertime, sorry.
Patriots, I just think about bad weather.
Yeah, I've seen them play in the snow.
Yeah, that's what I'm in my mind right now. I'm thinking about like snow, people with gloves on.
Yeah, nah, you have to be bundled up. There's no games. Like you cannot be cute in the wintertime at all. It is cold.
So was it as far as the people? Now I hear Boston people are rude. Is that true?
Are rude?
Yeah,
I think rude people are everywhere.
but I heard Boston people, they shell is like pretty thick.
I don't know. Rude, like maybe people are walking too slow or people are in the way. But I don't know. I feel like
I don't get that
come
from you.
across that.
I feel like you just a very
I'm different. I think it's all about energy too. Like,
yeah. That's the energy I get from you. Like you get energy, always excited.
yes.
I think your energy makes me think like, damn, I want to go to Boston. It's like
Good. You should go. You'd have a good
one of
time.
these days.
For
One day,
sure.
it's one of the places I do want to visit.
For sure.
Yeah. So you came out here 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
How's your journey in LA since?
Thus far, it has been good. I did move like right before the pandemic started. I moved here in 2019, November 2019. The pandemic was March 2020, so I was really only here like 4 or 5 months, and then it totally shut down. I was like, oh my God, I made a horrible mistake.
You ain't really get the actual LA that we see on TV. Yeah.
Literally, I get to experience it right now. Like this is my first year of like, this is LA. Like this is really it. But so yeah. But thus far it has been cool. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about like what I want to do and how I want to do it. And opportunities are just so much more vast here than in Boston. So I've been enjoying it.
So did you, when the pandemic hit, you didn't feel like, damn, I'm gonna go back home?
Totally felt that way.
Really? What made you stay?
I guess the fact that we didn't necessarily have to pay rent, so it was like, why not? Like, I don't have to really give up my apartment right now.
That's not a bad reason.
Yeah. So I just went home maybe for like a month or two, and then I don't know. I think it was actually kind of cool being bi-coastal for a little bit. Like, I was in Boston for a little bit, then I came back to LA. I still had my place. But ultimately, the goal wasn't to go back to Boston in general. It was like I just had to figure it out. Like, well, we came out here for a reason. Like, let's just figure out why we're here and what we can do now that.
So do you believe everything happens for a reason?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so because usually I'm like that too. I feel like I'm one of them people who I have to see everything through.
Yeah.
Even like if it's a bad movie, I won't turn it off.
No, you have to. There's this quote, or I don't know if it's a quote or just like a mantra or just like a way of thinking, but I feel like older people that really give advice on like having regrets, like I really listen to them, and like I feel like a lot of people that regret not doing something, like that's their number one regret. So I really feel like I just do not want to live like not like having turned every stone over and like trying it all,
Yeah.
you know?
That makes perfect sense. So you made the best out of your opportunity.
Yeah.
And so what came first? Was it the content creating,
Mm.
the modeling, commercial actors? What came first through your 4 year
Journey.
journey?
It was definitely the acting first. I remember being like in college, like literally one day, junior year, I just woke up like, I want to act. And I just went online and like figured out like how to get started. And I found an agency, and then that's a, story within itself. But I found an agency and I was working with them for a while, and I was like doing well in commercials. And even though I kind of always knew like the dream was to like do like TV or film,
Right.
commercials just seemed like more my vibe, like just happy, nice, bubbly, like
Right.
just quick kind
Did you
of.
take any acting classes at all?
I had to.
Was it in Boston or LA?
Everything started in Boston.
Oh, really?
Everything.
So it's a big market over there in Boston. As far as like,
Not big,
but it's
but there's a market.
okay.
Like there's agencies, people are working. You can
Okay.
work, yeah,
Oh, that's dope.
for sure. But compared to here or New York,
Of course
not
not.
comparable.
I mean, I feel like this is the mecca. Do you feel like do you feel like you have to move to one of those big cities to actually make it? Even after like the pandemic, I feel like after the pandemic, we was all sitting around and we had the opportunity to see like, I could do that over here too.
Yeah.
I felt like people started getting more creative
True.
rather than say, okay, let me pick up and just go to LA or New York or some places. You think you still got to come here?
That's a good question. It's kind of like a combination of both. No, I don't think you need to live here. I think you can work here. I think you can be bi-coastal or just fly in whenever you want. That's fine. But I feel like sometimes opportunities just pop up on a whim where you don't have time to plan a flight or know in advance. So I feel like I would just rather be in the area
That makes sense.
than not. So I think you can do both, but I think when it just comes down to just being around it wholeheartedly and really submerging yourself in it,
Right.
especially if it's something that you really, really want to do, why not just be around it? Because then you meet people that are really in it, like you're around. So I often make this joke. It's actually kind of interesting. Like being in Boston and you tell someone you're an actor, people kind of look at you like, what? Like you're not a lawyer, you're not a doctor, you're not a teacher. But being out here and you tell someone you're an actor, it's like, oh my God, what agency are you signed to? Like, it's just way more like exciting, like way more accepting.
Yeah.
So I think in that regard of just kind of just being in the area where everyone is at, I don't see how that could hurt you.
Yeah, that's true. Because I always look at it like, you can always find the same things in other cities, but LA just have more.
Yeah, they just have more.
You just have more agencies, you have more opportunities, you have more people who are doing the same thing as you.
Yeah.
So it's easier to pull you or push you ahead.
Yeah. And essentially back to your original question, that was definitely why I moved here as well. It was just like we could half-ass doing commercials, do commercials every quarter,
Right.
or you could do a commercial every week, every month.
Were you booking commercials in Boston?
Yeah, but not consistently. Not all the time. I think I probably did maybe like 4 big commercials in Boston, and I lived in Boston my whole life. So compared to really living here now, I've done so many commercials, and I've only been here like 3 years.
Nice.
Almost 4.
What's the biggest commercial you did?
Now, Old Navy. I just did an Old Navy commercial this past January.
Oh yeah,
that was the biggest commercial.
Yeah, I think that's the one I saw you when I was like, look at my dog. She's doing it big. Good for you.
Yeah, that was cool.
So you did the commercial. Now you also do content creating, right? How did that work for you during the pandemic? Like, was you just kicking out content the entire time, or?
No, I honestly had to like actually get into it. Content creation actually I don't think was a thing before the pandemic. I don't know if I'm wrong about that, but I really don't think it was a thing. But I honestly kind of always I feel like I knew this was gonna happen before it happened, because before the pandemic, I was trying to kind of integrate what I do into social media anyway, but I couldn't figure out how to really do it. Then the pandemic happened, and that's when I really started like doing content creation and working with brands and stuff because they can't do production of it. They have to send you the product. You have to film in your house. So that was kind of the thing. But now I realize that it really bleeds together. Like TV's not really as big of a thing that it used to be.
Right.
Now it's totally digital. So the commercials now are your content creation, your social media content, you know?
Right.
So, yeah.
So is it still, because I know, all right, so I coming out, I was like, I did a junior agent thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was really competitive. I remember working for a boutique agency, and it was almost a line every day for like people looking for representation. Now that people can kind of create their own content and narrative, is it still like fairly competitive in that world? Like, are you going to auditions and it's like a bunch of people, or is it like
for commercials or content?
Commercial.
That's a good question. Is it competitive? I would say yes, because we live in LA and everyone probably does this, right? So there's probably competition there. But as far as like direct competition that I see and I like, no, because everything is online. A lot of auditions are virtual, or you just send in an audition tape, which is also thanks to the pandemic, low key. I actually
So you
love
could live
that.
in another state and.
So that's why I was saying you don't necessarily have to live here.
Right.
It's true. You can be in Switzerland and send an audition tape in LA type of situation. And that's totally fine. It won't knock your chances. They want the best talent. But in that regard of being somewhere where you're not, say they pay you a certain amount of money. If I lived in the area, I get to keep it all. But if I was somewhere else, I gotta pay for a flight. Right. I gotta pay for a hotel, pay for transportation, pay to eat. It's like, how much of that am I really, getting to keep?
Then at that point, it's just like an opportunity.
It's just opportunity. Yeah, exactly.
Probably flourish from.
But I think it just depends on the person, like what they really want to do. But yeah.
So you got into content created on 2020?
I think so. Yeah, 2020.
And how's it been going? Has it been like? Because I feel like now that people can do make their own content and get paid for it.
That's what I'm saying. Content is kind of the new commercials. Like you are your own production. You set up your camera yourself. If you're an editor, you edit yourself. You color it yourself if you need to. Like you have your equipment. Like you don't. Not to say you don't need production, but if you can be your own production.
Have you had any good, like really good opportunities from just like posting stuff online, like people looking?
For sure. And honestly, that's how I started actually like really like getting like into content creation, like for real. In my brain, I was like, okay, I want to be on commercials.
Right.
In my head, I was like, what do I need to do to be on commercials? Let me just make my own. So I literally would just get my boy, Rich, who's a director here in LA. Like, can we shoot something? Like, can you come with me? I have this concept. Can we shoot something? Like I was just shooting my own ads.
So you shooting like random products or just?
No, things I really liked. Like, for example, like I love Lauren London. Like, I just love her. And she had a eyewear collab with Diff Eyewear. And so she had a bunch of eyeglasses. So I bought the eyeglasses and I was like, let's just shoot something with these eyeglasses. So I just made my own stuff. And then a couple weeks later, I ended up actually working with Diff, and I worked with them for like 2 years. So that was like kind of cool.
That's dope.
Yes. And what else? Makeup brands that I would just like wear makeup and like do my face and.
Were you in like a major makeup commercial? Were you?
Not a commercial.
No.
I don't think. Hold on, I gotta think. I've been in a lot of commercials. I don't think so.
How many commercials do you think you've been
in? I don't know. For sure, over like 25.
Really?
Maybe 30. Maybe. But that doesn't mean that I've always been in the front. It could be that I was in the back or I was there.
Still, that's still pretty good.
It's great.
Honestly. I took my first year out here. I thought to myself, like, you know what? I'm gonna try it.
You should.
No,
everyone should get into commercials. Honestly, everyone can get into commercials.
I don't have that. I commend.
No, you can do it.
No, I don't have the patience.
Commercial just means everyday people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like a model-esque look. It's just.
I had one experience with attempt. Well, one attempt at this,
Mm-hmm.
and I was supposed to be like I think I said this on another interview, but I was talking about how I was supposed to be a stand-in mummy. I was supposed to be a stand-in mummy,
Nice.
and my friend convinced me. He's like, "Yo, just go."
Yeah,
They paid 250 for the day,
do it.
so I'm like, I'm fresh out here, and I'm like, I could use 250 for a
Yeah,
day. That's not that
250 is
bad.
great for a day.
But I'm on set for like 5 hours at this point. I'm like, yo, when they gonna call us
Yeah,
out?
that's you. They say you like get ready to wait.
Oh man! So when they sit, it's people they sitting there, they're talking about all the stuff they did, and this is like my first thing ever.
Yeah,
So I'm running out of conversation as well as patience.
yeah.
So I went to I think one of the producers, and I was like, hey, when they just telling me like they're gonna call you,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked someone else like, hey, do they give you the check today or how do you give me cash? They're like, no, you gotta wait 2 weeks. I left. I was like, I'm not waiting.
For 250.
No, I'm not waiting after 250 for another
Yeah.
6-7 hours. That's out. And that was my last attempt.
Well,
My last attempt in like 2012.
if it's not something you want to do for sure, it probably feels like that. But for the people that are like really wanting to get into the business, they're probably like, this is so great.
No,
I'm on set.
I think like over time, as I get older, I'm open to trying
Mm-hmm.
things I've always wanted to try.
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, when I came out here, I flirted with the idea of being a sports agent. But when, long story short, they got the place that hired me put me on as an intern.
Mm-hmm.
They got rid of the sports department 2 weeks prior to me arriving. So with that, I'm like, all right, cool. They gave me a couple options. They said, hey, you can go into literature
Mm-hmm.
or comedy. So I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, cool. I do the comedy because I didn't want to do literature. But literature was like you're just reading scripts,
Gotcha.
and I was like, no, I'm not reading no scripts. Fast forward 4 or 5 years later, I end up going to UCLA
Nice.
to.
Oh, you went to
This,
school out here?
yeah, well, I just took the screenwriting classes
Oh, cool.
because I flirted with the idea of writing scripts, and I wrote a
Nice.
couple pilots. Um,
Okay,
yeah,
creative.
I wrote a couple pilots, but I never pitched it
Mm.
because my current business, my coaching basketball and everything, just overpowered my life.
Mm.
So I still think about going back and
I mean, you're in the land.
I am. So as I get older, I'm like I want to leave it all on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to what you said. Like I don't want to leave a stone unturned.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Um, but I really have a great respect for you guys who
Thanks.
doing as actors and actresses because it's a grind.
Totally a grind. And like you work completely for yourself. It's literally not like having a 9 to 5. Like you have to.
Was one of the biggest struggles as far as being a independent actress or someone that's coming out here like as far as trying to get on the scene.
The biggest
Like,
struggle.
what's one of your biggest struggles? Like when you came out here for you outside of the pandemic, maybe you felt like
Mm-hmm.
you had a part, you didn't get it. How you?
A big struggle. Oh, there's so many struggles. A big struggle. I think a big struggle. I don't know. The word struggle is so hard. But a big struggle or like just a big challenge
Uh-huh.
just could be that nothing is consistent the
Mm.
way that like because I also before I like fully became 100% like a person that worked for myself,
Uh-huh.
I worked at a bank.
Uh-huh.
And you got paid every 2 weeks. You know how much you're gonna get paid. You can
Right.
plan out your paycheck in advance. Like
Mm.
like
Right.
I'm gonna use this check for this. I'm gonna use this check. I got this check. I mean, like
Yeah, we all been there.
when you work for yourself, shit. Hopefully, and not like you said, you have to wait 2 weeks or however long for just 250. Like for sure,
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta wait a month. Sometimes longer. You gotta
Really?
be on them to pay you. Like, yeah,
Really?
that's hard. That's hard.
So what's the longest gap you had in between like gigs?
Now we're on strike. I
Oh,
haven't
true.
worked in
Very
since
true.
May. Well, I haven't worked as an actress, I'll say,
Uh-huh.
in since January.
Wow.
Hmm
So this was 8 months?
We're 8 months, 7 months.
Now, if let's say you wasn't on strike, is that something common for commercial
Actors.
actresses and
For
actors?
sure.
Really?
Yeah, for sure to not work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the industry. Sometimes you're not working, sometimes you are. Sometimes you're working consistently, sometimes you're not. It's literally ebb and flow. Sometimes your money's looking crazy, right? Sometimes you're like, guys, I'm not going out for a
Yeah.
while. You know?
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
what? So, because I always thought like just an outsider looking in before I moved out here.
Mhm.
I always just thought like when you see actors and actresses in different movies, I just feel like they just keep filming
Mhm.
month in, but they go about 8 months. I mean, it must pay good,
Mhm.
but you got to balance it out.
Mhm.
So what do you do in between? Or I mean, work regular jobs, or
Yeah.
just sit, balance your money, or just keep.
Well, I kind of feel like I've situated myself now, especially during the pandemic. I definitely used that time to like figure out what was going to be the consistent thing for me.
Right.
Because that was my like wake up call during the pandemic. Like, damn, the industry really can shut down at any moment. And I'm learning that again right now with the strike. Like, it
Yeah.
really can just shut down. So, what am I going to do? Like, what's something I can offer, either a product or a service that can still just make me money? Like, what can be like a thing? And so that's when I started video editing. Like, seriously, like, let me really like learn how to edit, you
Mm.
know? So that's what I do realistically in between the gaps of acting jobs and
So
stuff.
people pay you to edit like some of their content or
Hmm.
whatnot.
Yeah, or just edit anything. Anyone that just doesn't want to edit something, they can literally just give it to me. I'll edit. I've edited like music videos, web series, commercials, social content.
Okay.
Did I say music videos?
Yeah, you said me.
Lyric videos.
Mm,
Yeah. So anything you can edit, I've edited acting reels.
really.
Yeah.
And edit, because editing, that's the hardest part.
It's the hardest part, and I love when people say that they hate editing because I love editing. I can stay home and edit all day.
Really.
Hmm.
Well, I feel like I've watched someone edit before, and it's just too tedious for me.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I'll have I've been on projects where like I've been editing for someone or they want to watch me edit or something like
Uh,
that, and I just like know where everything is obviously now, but it's just so interesting. Like they're like, "Whoa, like how do you do that so fast?" Or "Oh my God." Like I wish my boy Rich was here. He literally would tell you like it is so funny. I'm thinking about all the times we've edited and he's just been like, "I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that." Like it's so funny.
well, if y'all need anything edited, Chanice Ball is the one to follow.
For sure. Yeah.
So y'all got to be pretty creative with how y'all spend your money, how y'all spend your time, and
Mhm.
everything else. So going back to the commercials, now I saw online you was talking about like how you booked, how you was like your own agent or manager for
Mhm.
quite some time. That's still the case?
Mhm. No, not entirely. I'm
Uh,
my own manager,
mm,
which kind of goes into my company too. Like, since it's really just me in my company, it
right.
really can be whatever I want it to be. So, video editing, digital content creation, but also management. So I manage myself, obviously. But I do have an agent.
So you making the phone calls,
It's me.
all you.
And I honestly like it that way.
Yeah,
I
because you can
do.
see everything.
I
You can
want to
kind of
see
represent.
everything. I want to like also I grew up like my parents are both in the judicial system, the legal system. My
Oh,
mom
really?
was a probation officer, my dad was a judge.
Oh, right.
So I kind of also grew up like wanting to know about the legalities of things,
Mm,
and especially working in this industry that can be super manipulative and a
mm-hmm.
little like really read the fine print. I like to just know like what I'm getting myself into. And it's just better to me, especially just where I'm at right now. It's really just me. I'm not like at a super high point in my life
Right.
where I need to have 9 managers and 3 agents. It's not that deep. I'm cool with my one agent. She's amazing and we have a great relationship and we talk very, very often and she knows me and I know her
Yeah, that's important.
and you gotta split money with people.
Yeah, that's very true.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
having a manager and an agent is not free.
I'm not there yet where I'm just like, okay, we can just dish out money when we're not making it.
So the commercials early on, you booked them yourself, right?
So in Boston or here?
Boss, I mean, have you
Yeah,
booked a significant amount by yourself?
for sure, for sure. Big
How
opportunities I've booked by myself.
how would someone go about that?
Oh, okay. So like as a
Like
Well,
if
actually,
you're
it
independent,
doesn't even matter.
if you're independent
Mhm.
and you're just like, you know what, I want to be an actor, actress.
Mhm. What do I need to do?
What I need to do? How can I get on TV by myself?
Okay, so there's probably so many steps before that, but if it's really just trying to find the job,
I mean, give us the long way.
do you want the long way?
We want the long way. We want the
All
long
right,
way.
the long way is first, I guess, decide you want to do it and cool.
Right. Uh-huh.
Next would probably be take some classes and just have the skill there because I think everybody like wants to do it and I think everybody can do it, but it's really just like sharpening your sword, honing your craft.
Right.
And figuring out like what lane you want to go into because TV film is different from commercials. You know, you're going to have a different set of headshots, you're going to have a different reel, you're going to have a different way that you market yourself.
Right.
You know, so figuring out what you want to do. Then you'll take great photos. Like definitely invest in like good photos, good headshots.
Like a real photographer.
Like for real. Like I mean, you don't have to. Like you could have your
headshots get up there though, doesn't it? I remember.
They do. It's an investment, but everything is a tax write-off.
Okay. Okay.
In my eyes, everything is
yeah,
a tax write-off if it's related to the business. But also, like, why cut corners? If you know that this is what you want to do, so think about it. Headshots are expensive, yes, but would you rather spend 150 on this like whack headshot, 150 here because you didn't like that, and do another 150 because you didn't like those, or you just want to pay that 3, 4, 500, 6, whatever for
Right.
amazing headshots that you only have to get done one time until like maybe your look changes or something happens or you grow or whatever. But for the most part, you can keep your headshots for as long as you still look the same. You can keep them.
That makes sense.
So
yeah, you can't. I feel like you can't. You can't go cheap when it comes to the career.
You really can't.
The
I've done that
quality.
too. Like, oh, I don't want to spend this much money. So I've spent over the amount of money I would spend on headshots alone had I not just
Yeah.
done it
That's
with
that's
a great
usually what happens.
photographer.
That's usually what happens. Like when you try to go cheap or inexpensive with something, and then you realize it doesn't work, you end up having to pay for more.
No, for real. And a lot of the times, honestly, you get booked solely off of your photo.
Really?
You don't have to audition. You don't have to do anything. They love your photo. They like your look. Bam, you got the job.
That is very true. When I was a junior agent for that boutique agency, all I did was look at pictures. So if I read a casting call that said, hey, we're looking for a 21-year-old girl to play a cheerleader, and I'm just looking at the pictures, a swag, no, she don't like she can be a cheerleader, no. And go from there. So it really, the headshots is definitely
an
important.
investment, for sure.
Okay.
Good photos, good classes, practice for sure. Be confident. Build a resume. That way you can build a resume. That's important. I think the last steps of this journey would be to find an agent or a manager. And honestly, you don't need a manager if you're just starting out. Maybe an agent.
What role does the manager actually play in the actor? I guess what? Go find. Unless they're really connected, right?
Yes, that's essentially the difference between an agent and a manager. One's a little just closer to you, like you probably talk to this person every day. You may know them on a personal level. They travel with you. They go to these jobs with you. Like they're really like your right-hand man. Not to say managers are assistants, but they kind of can act as that while also getting you jobs. However, an agent only gets paid when you get paid. A manager gets paid regardless. So you'll pay your manager every week, even if you're not making money.
Really?
Because that's their service. Yes, they're still looking for jobs for you regardless.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the difference between a manager and an agent.
Because I did the management thing.
You didn't get paid?
I didn't get paid, bro. Bro, you owe me some money. You know who I'm talking to. I need my money.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he probably owes you some bread.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought everyone gets paid when you get paid.
I mean, they should, and
like
the percentages might change depending on the manager and the agent. Managers may ask for more because they literally are working around the clock.
Really?
And managers probably have less of a roster than an agent. An agent may have like 90 people on their roster, but an agent might just have, a manager may just have like 3 people that they really just are focused on,
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know I should have been paid.
Yeah, I had a interview with the manager one time because I was at a place where I was like, do I want a manager? I think I need a manager. I remember meeting with a guy that was like a manager, and honestly, that was the thing that turned me off. I was like, why am I paying you? we're not making any money.
You have to pay him out of your own pocket. Wow.
Regardless.
Yeah, that's not that's not a
it.
smart idea.
Not with it. Doesn't and it,
When
ethically
does a
doesn't make sense.
manager? When will it make sense for a manager to come in? Like when you probably just big time.
Probably. But honestly, you don't have to. Like Beyonce's her own manager.
Really?
She manages herself.
Well, yeah, that's Beyonce though. Beyonce.
But her dad was her manager for a really long time as well.
Very true.
And they kind of speak on your behalf, like, you know, I guess because, you know, I think there's pros and cons to having a manager because like you don't ever want to be seen as like the bad guy.
Very true.
If you are speaking with a brand or talking with a client or a potential job is on the table, and I don't know, it just I guess honestly having people on your team will always take the pressure off of you having to deal with it and allows you room to be creative as opposed to trying to be clerical as well. But you know, I think for me right now, an agent is cool with like I'm fine, and I like managing myself because I can manage my time. I can decide the projects I want to take on. I can decide like what I want to do, and because my career just bleeds into so many different facets, like it's not just acting, it's also editing, it's content creation. It's like I'm okay. There's just too much.
Yeah, so you got a lot going on. So you would say even if you have a goal to be an actress or actor, still have other things within that realm where you can kind of control to show your talents.
You have to.
Yeah, I felt like when I was just going back to, you know, just being a junior agent, the people who were flourishing was the ones who was doing a lot by themselves.
Yeah.
The ones who
have to hold their hand.
Yeah, they weren't really getting a lot of jobs.
Yeah, you definitely have to be like hungry. You definitely have to do a lot of things yourself. So going back to what you were saying, like my agent has like a bunch of other clients, not clients, but like a bunch of other us's like on her roster.
Yeah.
Like she can't focus all her time on me. Like she can't, but a manager could, right?
Right.
But no, she can't. Like there's 90 of us. Like she can't.
If you not like making a bunch of money every month, why would I'm just trying to figure out what would be the incentive for a manager to be like working for you every day, even if he's getting paid anyway.
Well, that's essentially it. It's like they're working every day. Like they're still working every day.
How would you know that if you're not getting paid?
I mean,
you're not getting booked.
But I guess you got to give them the opportunity to book you. But it was just like I didn't really want to take that chance at the time. Like I don't really feel like paying you, and I don't know if this is gonna work out. I don't really know you. Like managers are close to you. Like you build relationships with them.
Right.
I didn't know the person, so I don't know. It's also weird working in this industry. Kind of like it is about who you know, and not to say it's hard to trust. I don't want to believe that it's hard to trust people, but you definitely just have to use discernment when you're working with people when money is involved, because that always changes the character of a person. Fair. So it's kind of like I didn't really feel the need to give this person money if I had never seen what you could do. It's like you're telling me, but I don't know. As opposed to maybe a person who I already knew, like we already had a rapport or whatever, and I kind of already know this is what they do. It's like, oh, okay, I can see the trajectory. I can probably see how I could fit. But I don't know. It's like weird.
So when you booked your own commercial, like, are you calling people, or are you just going to the auditions?
Nah, so this is open to everybody. This is like maybe number 4 of like what you need to do.
Right.
You can go on castingnetworks.com and create a profile, and on that profile you'll put all the things that I said to have before: your reel, your headshots, your resume, right? Because it's like a job board for actors. Casting Networks, and everyone put like casting directors use it. Like it's like the main thing. It's like the LinkedIn for actors.
Got you.
You know,
and people really look at it.
Really that's the main one, especially the one that I use for sure. So because you can buy it yourself, or if you're with an agency, they'll put you on theirs. But I like having control. So I just kind of do it myself, and you can submit your own jobs. You can see the jobs. You can see everything. You can see the jobs, what they're looking for. You can filter it. So it's just like, only show me roles like this. Only show me roles like that. Only show me this, you know? So, and it'll come to your email, or you just go on the board like every day, whatever. And you can literally look at it. You can submit your stuff and go on about your day.
Nice. So
So that's how I book myself, if I were to book myself.
If you were to book yourself. Nice. And so once you get the job, I mean, does the ball keep rolling, or you gotta go right back to the same grind?
Always the same grind.
Always the same grind.
Always, yeah, yeah. They teach us when you're like an actor, and I don't know if this is like a bad thing or a good thing, but I remember going to like an actors convention and like being in one of the like seminars that we had, and the guy was basically just telling us like after everything you do, forget about it. Like don't celebrate, but like don't even like don't dwell on it. Like, okay, great, you were in a commercial. Next, like you're always to the next thing. So it's kind of funny when people like say to me like, I saw you in a commercial, and it's just like, not that that's not cool, like,
No, that's
thanks.
super cool though.
But it's been months. It's been months since it's been shot. And since then, like, you're just now seeing it. But since then, I've probably done like 5, 6 other jobs in between.
Really? So how long? Yeah, typically how long is like you shoot a commercial when it comes out 3 months later, 4 months?
Depends.
Really?
That's all. Yeah, it depends on the season of like what the thing is. Like that commercial I did was for summer, and they shot that in January. Obviously, to have come out in like spring to run in through until I guess like the fall is over. Yeah, but it just depends. Like even movies are like that. Movies are like they'll shoot a year, 2 years before we even see a trailer. You know what I mean? So everything is always beforehand.
Yeah, very true. So you also do modeling. So you also a model.
Yeah, they bleed together, I think.
Yeah.
Commercial acting and modeling.
Got you. So but you wasn't on any like billboards.
I was just on a billboard, but I did not know that I was on a
What
billboard.
billboard? Where?
It was for Torrid, and the girl told me that it was like in San Francisco or something.
Did you post that? I feel like you posted it.
I posted her screenshot of it. I never saw it.
Really?
Yeah, she had posted a video like of the BTS of the shoot, and I saw that we were on 2 billboards. I was like, I never saw this in my life. I had no idea that we were on a billboard.
Wow.
No idea.
Do they do commercial acting and modeling? Do they pay the same, or comparably the same?
No. Absolutely not. It's so much different.
Which pays more?
I don't know. It depends. It depends on where. Price, I think, goes into where they're gonna show it.
Right.
Like so, and also in this business, it's also kind of like you get to decide what you want to be paid. Like if you like their rate, you can take their rate. If you feel like you deserve more, you can fight for it. But it doesn't mean you'll always get it, but you can fight for it, which is where the agents and the managers come in, right? You're not the bad guy asking for a lot of money. They can maybe justify better, why you should be getting paid more. But it depends. If it's on broadcast, sometimes that's crazy bread right there. Broadcast is crazy. Even voice actors too. If it's going to be on the radio, if it's going to be on TV, social media, websites, like you can really fight for like your price based on where all these things will live. So I don't know, it just depends. In my experience, because I haven't done like too many things that have been like on like magazines or billboards, I would say commercials, because I'm being biased. I've only ever done commercials. But that job that I was on a billboard for was a commercial and print. So I kind of already
What's
knew
print?
Print is commercial modeling.
Modeling.
Print is like print. Like print is like magazines. Anything that is like plastered somewhere is print.
Got you. Okay,
you know what I mean? It could be in a store, like like you walk into a store and you see like a girl in Nike like this.
Yeah.
Like that's print modeling. You see people on the sides of the bus. That's print.
Is that industry still competitive, like modeling? I know.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I remember.
But commercial modeling and commercial acting, like commercial just means like everyday people. So commercial modeling is like people that like pose for Colgate, or people that like, what's another brand? Like, I don't know, anything like like holding hair products. That's commercial. But like editorials, like Tyra Banks, like Kendall Jenner, like runway, like high fashion, like that's like Vogue. That's like a different kind of modeling.
Okay.
But commercial, like smiling, bubbly, like buy my product, that's commercial modeling.
Yes, I never knew the difference. Like I know people say print, people say commercial. I just never knew the difference. So you never wanted to do like movie acting? Or you ever wanted to get into like film?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Haven't had any opportunities just yet?
No, but I also haven't put myself out there to do it. I'm
No.
like this much.
What kind of
I'm
character you
probably
think?
this much scared.
What character you think you'll flourish in? Like,
I
what?
think I know exactly the character I'm gonna
Okay,
flourish
let's
in.
hear it.
I'm like the cool girl who like lives next door. I'm the girl next door for sure. But
Okay.
like this, not like the sidekick, but like I'm like I'm like cool. Like
What kind
we're
of
not
movie
really
though? Like,
in we're
like
not really in the mix. We're just like there, you know?
no, we're
Not
like
really in the mix. We're just like there. Let me think. Like, who's a good example? I could say
I'm trying to.
like Yara Shahidi. She's like girl next door. Granted, she is like the lead, which is great, but she's girl next door. She's like bubbly, like cute.
Yeah, I can see it. Okay.
You know what I
What you,
mean?
I get what
Like
you're
Yara, as
saying.
opposed to like Zendaya, even
Yeah.
though she's killing it. But I don't know if I could do Rue. It's a little dark, a
Oh
little deep.
yeah.
But Grownish, that's me. Grownish, that sounds fun.
I can see
Fun,
you on that.
bubbly. I can see
Yeah, I
me
can
on that
see that.
too.
Absolutely.
That's my character in my brain.
Got you.
Like a
So
Grownish type of character.
because I always like, man, I wonder if I was an actor, what would I kind of see myself as? I haven't thought. I haven't thought
You're
that.
giving like military.
Me?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
combat.
I can.
Let's
Yeah.
go, let's go, let's go.
Yeah. I think that I think I flourish in that role
For sure.
since I coach and my
You should.
personality.
Honestly, you know what's crazy though? Like, even though like things are like movies and TV and it seems like so far-fetched, but if they do a basketball movie, who do you think they hire?
Basketball players.
Thank you. So you literally could
I would
still
do it.
submit to do stuff like that.
I would do it. See, that's the thing. You know what? I'll be real with you. I always have this vision that I walk into it. Like I don't want to submit. I just want to be like,
Like someone just finds you on the
yeah, like
street.
I'm at Whole Foods and someone like, hey, do you act? And I'm like, no.
That's happened to me twice.
Really?
Yeah. But you gotta be careful. People are weird.
Yeah. I think I probably look at it weird too. Like I don't know who
Why?
this
What's
is.
the catch?
I mean, but then you got so many other things to check the background. Though you got like Instagram. You got
Oh, for
you can
sure.
go
You
for it.
have to. And it really be breaking my heart when I hear stories, especially of like women that just kind of get
Do
themselves.
those stories still really exist?
What? I'll tell you a story off camera. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
With you?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
absolutely not.
Like how can so people still get like
For sure.
that? Like, oh, I'm the producer. I can get you in everything, and people will still fall for it. Really?
That's bad. It's scary.
I know that was a thing. Like when I first moved out here,
Mhm.
people always say like, oh, I know this person. I know that person. This person's gonna get me here, and I might have been. I can't think of a story off the top of the head, but I think I've probably been a victim of that once or twice. But then I realized, like, why would you put me on? Like, why not put your cousin on, your brother on? Why would you put a stranger on? You know?
I was just talking about this morning, actually, with one of my cousins, because I was telling her this story.
Uh-huh.
But it's really interesting sometimes how people just kind of want to be attached to a person or a brand, and
Why do you think though? Like
people are weird, and people, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, why it's kind of like contradictory. Like, we know why. Like, if I knew Beyonce, I know Beyonce. Like, what?
Yeah, but I wouldn't leave some. If I know Beyonce, that's one thing. But me saying I know Beyonce to a point where I don't know her and I can get you a job with her is crazy to me.
Yeah, people are kind of like that. I don't know. I think people just feel like, I don't know. We live in a land where everything is face value. Like you how you present yourself is sometimes how you get in the door. Doesn't mean it's right.
True.
But it's very pretentious. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And so if you name drop and you know all these people to a person who may be wanting to get into the industry and literally is super green, has no type of background in it at all, you come to them telling them you can put them on, who are they to not believe you?
True.
But if you're a person who's already been in the industry and have gotten jobs myself, it's like.
What kind of background check do you do? Like if somebody say, hey, I can get you here. I mean, are you automatically, what's your Instagram? Let me check it. Or are you?
Yeah. So just certain red flags, I would say, like anyone that says, and this is a big one actually, people come to me about this a lot. Anyone that's asking you for money to do a job is never a job.
They ask you for money?
Yeah.
Really?
People will be like, I can put you in a music video with Drake. You just got to pay for your flight. You're this, you're that. There's no way. I've done music videos, and I've never.
So that's not common that people will pay.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
That is not a thing.
So they say.
Why would they ask you to pay when you're getting paid? Why would they do that?
Makes sense.
You're doing a job. Does your job tell you to? Well, I guess you do have to kind of pay to come to work.
Well, yeah,
pay for your gas.
Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. So
you know,
I'm full-time.
But like, you know what I mean?
Like
no one. It's just like use your common sense. Like no one is going to. No, it just doesn't make sense.
See,
like,
I'm one of the people.
Like come on, your spidey senses have to tingle, and if not, like, I don't know what's going on. Well, I guess you got to learn a lesson. But for real, you got to ask yourself those questions. Like, why would they ask me to do that?
So someone says, "Hey, I'm gonna put you in this Drake video, but you pay for your flight. You gotta pay for your flight. Get you there as soon as you. Why would they even want you out here at that point?"
Exactly. That's a great point you just brought up. I remember one of my friends asked me, like, is this legit? And it was something like that. It was like, we're sending a bunch of girls to Miami to be in Drake's video, blah, blah, blah. And she lives in Boston. Well, there's a bunch of women in Miami. Why are you flying me to Miami? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
There's a bunch of girls in Miami.
But you might be way the look.
And why are they? That could be true. That could be true. But no. And if they are going to have you travel, they will pay for it.
I can see that. You like the special look that he's looking for, she's looking for, they will definitely pay for it. Yeah, I wanted a benefit. I'm a benefit of the doubt guy. Like I was talking to my friend the other night, and we was talking about a story where a mutual friend of ours, he lied to me like before he was a friend, and he he was telling me about all this money he was making or whatnot. And I was believing him. And then over the years, because I'm not like fact checking. I'm not like, yo, is he really making this money? But over the years, the whispers got louder about his financial situation. I'm like, yo, man, he told me he was making this. Like, and they all laughed. Like, but I don't understand why would someone do that. Like, I just don't even understand the motives. I don't understand like.
What do you mean? People always, especially when it comes to a financial standing, no one ever wants to admit that.
Yeah, but say you got millions of dollars is crazy.
I mean,
to a guy,
look, and people do it for many reasons. I don't know why specifically this person did it, but I would think for men, saying that you have a lot of money
to another man.
I mean,
that's the
ego thing. That's the ego thing. I think men can be that way.
With a woman, like, to impress a woman. But
yeah, I think when men talk about money to women, it's an automatic red flag. I was just talking about this to someone. Yeah, I think that's a red flag.
I agree. I don't think, like, when money comes up in the first conversation or the first initial, I think, like, yeah, that is a red flag for me, too. Like, I get that.
Like, why are we talking
about it? I've gotten that before. Like, how do you make your money? If you're a coach, how do you make your money? It's just like, I mean, I'm not asking you for nothing, so I don't know what.
It's like interesting. It's like weird, right? Because like we live in a world where everyone says don't talk about your money, right? You're not supposed, like, it's a taboo conversation, like don't talk about your finances. But at the same time, how does one learn, especially in the Black community? Like, how do we learn about money and financial literacy if we don't talk about it? But I think there's just a way, and there's just a way you talk about it, and there's like a time to talk about it, and there's like a certain like area of talking about it, and like we're not.
I think it's stages to it, right? Like if we just get to know each other, or even no matter what it is, male or female, friendship, relationship, whatever, and we're not planning on mixing money together at that stage. We shouldn't be talking about money unless I'm asking you for money.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you mind if I get $20? Then you might say, hey, bro, don't you work or something like that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's stages to it. I also think too, when you get past the early stages, I think it's healthy to talk about money.
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
I talk to my male friends. If I'm dating, I'm talking to the woman about it as well. Just so we understand how
this will operate.
Yeah, or where I'm at or where you at, and maybe you can help me and I can help you with on a friendship level.
Right.
So I think money conversations are important.
Yeah. But when you're like trying to flex.
Yeah, like the situation I'm talking about, this was like the first time I met him.
Then that just means,
You know what I mean? Like I'm like, but I'm feeling like, yo, he told me, I'm feeling like he trying to motivate me or something. Yeah, like he's trying to motivate me or something. Like he's trying to tell me how to make this money. So let's do it.
Yeah,
yeah. So I think LA is tricky. I think
LA is tricky.
Very
it's hard.
tricky.
It's hard because everybody is like no one's presenting themselves as if they don't got it, and if they are, hella humble, hella like that like
absolutely
ego down all the way. Like that is so transparent, and that's real as hell. But dead ass, you walk in the club like what? No one is acting like they don't got it.
Oh yeah, that's. But I think that I used to think it was in LA. But now I think it's universal now.
Totally.
Have you ever experienced that? Like a guy probably told you, like, hey, and then he didn't.
What? Of course.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I never know what women really
But that's just not a thing. That's just not at least for me. It's not like I don't get off on like, oh my God, he got money. Ooh, let's talk to him.
Yeah.
I don't get off on it.
Yeah, I always find like the people who really is making some financial strides, they're very quiet. They're very quiet with their money. You won't even know it.
Don't even know.
So I think I admire stuff like that. I think that's kind of cool. I'm not like a loud person. So if I was to be in that space, I would just be really quiet. You know what I mean? Quiet. Plus you keep more money that way.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's true. And if you tell people you got it like that, if you weren't a great person, you could have been plotting on him like, nah, he got da 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 da.
All right. Make sure you edit that. I remember LA was just its own island. Do you feel like, do you travel a lot for like your commercials or do you mostly in LA?
Mostly in LA.
Oh, okay. So I was just saying, like, do you feel like everywhere is like LA now? Like where the idea LA, and don't get me wrong, LA is a great place.
Yeah.
LA, the people, the bad rep that it gets is the people who move out here.
I think I've met some Hollywood.
Yeah. LA is
great.
LA is super authentic. LA,
for sure.
I've had
Shout
the pleasure.
Out to the natives.
Absolutely. I've had the pleasure of, I always have the pleasure of being around people who are actually from LA.
Yeah.
And they're great people. Great people, great family-oriented people. They just don't, the Hollywood idea just overshadows everything. And I think people see that and think that's how life needs to be.
Yeah.
You need to be faking things to make it. But I don't, but the people here, they actually are very authentic. If you ever get a chance to come to LA.
Yeah, they are cool.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the strike. How you handle it?
As best as I can. I can't really do much about it, especially now that I am SAG. I literally can't do anything. I can't work non-union.
SAG is the union for
Screen Actors Guild.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. So it's the official union of being an actor, which is great. And there's also a process of that too. If someone out there is listening, it's not an immediate thing. I've been acting for like 8 years now. I just became a part of SAG, and some people want to do it, some people don't want to do it.
So SAG is like a club. Like
SAG is a club. It's like
Like is it like a badge of honor?
It definitely. It's definitely a thing to like flex. Like, oh, you're SAG, I'm SAG. You know, but
so it's like a record deal.
Exactly, kind of. Okay. It's like a little interesting like stamp that just like people can just be like, whoa, like you're official. But there's literally no difference between someone who is in SAG and someone who is a non-union actor. The only difference is one person's a part of a union, they get certain benefits of being a part of that union. The other person just doesn't have as much protection. But at the end of the day, they're both working.
So do you think they'll get somebody see SAG versus independent? Or are they gonna go with the SAG first?
Depends on the project, but for sure SAG will always get priority. If it's a SAG project, absolutely, they're gonna look at the SAG actors before they look at non-union actors for sure.
Y'all on strike,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's kind of like a smaller pool too.
really,
Of, yeah. So say I was still non-union,
right?
which means I'm just not a part of I'm just a regular independent actress.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of people in LA or anywhere, everywhere in the world that could submit for this job, right?
Right.
But if I'm SAG and it's a SAG job, it's only the SAG actors that can
Get it.
apply or audition or have the chance of being in this.
Well, let me ask you this then. So if
A smaller big pool.
if SAG actors and actresses are on strike,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if I was an independent? Would you be mad at me? Like if I went out and still was like acting?
If you're an independent,
Yeah.
I can't be mad at you.
I'm just saying, like, cause y'all
I
supposed to
can
all
probably be a
stand.
little like, oh my God, I wish I stayed non-union. Like I could probably do that. But no.
Well, yeah.
Because essentially what SAG is fighting for right now is the higher paying jobs
Right.
for all of us, not just the actors too. The writers are on strike right now and everybody that is supporting, the movement. But everyone is just fighting for equal pay, better wages, obviously better working conditions. Hence why we're on strike right now.
So non-union actors and actresses,
Mm-hmm.
they now have a better opportunity getting these. I don't know if they still looking for roles right now. I don't know. If the
Non-union is still working.
Oh.
Non-union can do whatever they want. Non-union is out here and
okay.
thriving.
See, I was under the impression that
Mm-mm.
everyone was like, "No, we not doing nothing." But so
It's just SAG.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of hurt y'all at the same time, right?
What? Who you telling? I literally just joined SAG, and the crazy part is, I remember I kind of didn't have a choice. So sorry. In order to like be in SAG, there's like a couple like things you have to do.
Right.
You have to have at least worked on 3 SAG projects to have gotten SAG, but they have to give you SAG vouchers, or you have to have done 1 SAG job. So like a non-union person can work a SAG job, but a SAG person could not work a non-union job, right? So say you're non-union and you work and you book a SAG job, and that job was like super huge, like a national football commercial, basketball commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bam, you're already a part of SAG if it's a SAG job, right? So once you become SAG, you're not able to work non-union anymore. So that was when I got that Old Navy commercial, I was at the point where I didn't even know, but I guess I had 4 vouchers, and so I had to join. I had no idea. So I really didn't even have a choice, honestly. It was just like, darn. Wow. Guess I gotta join. So I joined, which is great because it's like, wow, next step, badge of honor, moving into this, next level of opportunities. Yeah. SAG also does mean higher paying jobs. You know what I mean? Right. Like, for real, non-union can really like pay you not your word. Like,
so
they don't have to.
Are you guys worried about like the hungry non-union actors and actresses coming in? They like, look, y'all can go strike. We're gonna take these jobs.
I mean,
do you think that would hurt y'all progress in this strike?
Being non-union and SAG are totally 2 different, and there's no competition. But not saying there is but it's just like you can't compare. Like, they're 2 incomparable things. So does it hurt? Essentially, yes. I think it would, because it's just like it's like working non-union jobs can tell the industry that they don't have to have a certain level of treatment on set. Uh-huh. They can pay you whatever they want to pay you. They can take up as much time as they want on set, and you just have to be there. They can treat you however they want to treat you. Someone can be rude. Someone can abuse you, and there's nobody that you can talk to about it, So that's kind of the benefit of having a union. It's just more protection in that regard, because we do work in such a interesting industry where all these things possibly could.
Is that common? Like all the negatives that you just mentioned? Is that common? Like
Not in my world, but I would assume in the acting world, yeah. But not in my world. Like, it's never happened to me. I've been very grateful and blessed.
I can see that. I mean, when I worked for the agencies I worked for, I didn't see too much of like abuse or what I would consider negative, because I guess I'm coming from a sports world and I've seen like coaches yell at
Yeah.
their
And not
assistant
to say
coaches.
all things are like that, but it could just be like the treatment. Like, for example, on that Old Navy shoot, SAG, oh my gosh. And it's actually kind of crazy when you think about it, because there's really no difference between me and another human, but whatever. We like got to sit inside, and we had chairs, and it was like very, hair and makeup. It's obviously a level. And then maybe everyone that's non-union is just sitting outside in the cold, their jackets on folded chairs, and
Y'all getting gourmet meals, they getting peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
no, legit.
They get
No, they
carrot,
probably
they get carrot
ate
sticks.
everything we ate too, but it's just not priority. And that kind of sucks, because they're still doing a job too.
Yeah.
But they're non-union, they don't have that protection. They take that risk.
They gotta get their weight up. They got
Eventually. But honestly, sometimes it works for people. It really works. Sometimes like not every big job is a part of SAG. Like a lot of like jobs that I was doing before, I couldn't do anymore because I'm a part of SAG now. So I couldn't work with brands or clients or people that I have already been working with and had great relationships with.
So you can't never like, hey, I don't want to be SAG no more.
You can. You can decide not to, for sure.
So why don't people just be like, you know what?
Because you pay a lot of money to get into it.
Oh, you gotta pay to get in it.
Yes, like crazy.
Really?
It's like
do you personally have to pay, or do you take out your check?
You gotta pay.
Wow.
You gotta pay. But when it's time to join SAG, typically that check you're gonna get is gonna be plenty for you to be able to join SAG. SAG is only $3,000, and I don't mean 3,000 like we all got 3,000. You know what I mean? But it's just $3,000, and typically the SAG jobs
after you meet their credentials, though.
If you've already had your 3 vouchers, your SAG vouchers, okay, so it's kind of interesting. You're like a can join. It's like you're still in a good SAG eligible is what they call it. It's like you could join SAG if you want. It's now your choice if you choose to, or you can still work non-union. That's fine. But when you're a must join, which is what I was, like now you're on your 4th voucher, you're working SAG job. It just showed like you've been working SAG, you need to join SAG.
Right.
Then you gotta pay and join the army.
Tricky. It sounds
tricky. It's not for everyone. I definitely had to do my research. I definitely had some. It was interesting. I remember my agent called me and she was like, "Yeah, you got to join." And I only had like a certain window. I knew nothing about it. I wasn't even thinking about it at all.
You had to join.
Must join. There was and I had only a certain amount of time to do it. And so I took that time I was on YouTube watching videos, on TikTok, like watching videos of like people giving their perspective of what it's like being in SAG and what it's like being non-union and what it's like being in FICOR, which is another union where you can do both. You're allowed to do non-union jobs and you're allowed to do SAG jobs. However, you just can't go around saying you're SAG. So, yeah, there's a lot.
I feel like but you always hear the horror stories of it takes so long to do this, it takes so long to do that. I feel like you kind of move kind of fast. Like you really think about it. If you moved out here 4 years ago, and not to say you're a overnight. Sorry guys, I have 2 phones here. Not to say like you're an overnight success or anything. Yeah, you're an overnight success or anything, but because you're not. Because the 4 years. Because I'm not saying
because you're not. For real, no, seriously.
You put the grind in, you work. But I'm saying 4 years is not a long time.
It's not a long time.
And I think sometimes people hear like the stories of someone's career in your industry and kind of shy away from their dreams and goals because it's just too long.
But I think that's where, going back to when we were talking about like why I moved, like you have to also sometimes just be in the space. Sometimes it takes so long because you're just not in the space, but being where it's all happening, it's like
sometimes
you have to.
You gotta take a risk. You gotta take.
You have to.
I got a friend like that. He's in your industry, but he's on like the finance end of things.
Oh, cool.
But I always tell him, you could have been here if you would have moved out here. But he played it safe. He was.
Yeah, you can't play it safe.
Yeah, he was
in
back
any
home,
industry. Though.
Yeah, you can't play. I feel like you have to be here to get the energy, to get the encouragement, to see it every day.
And connections.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're going to go out and
meet the people that know the people that you need to know to get the job.
And even if you meet people laterally, over time, you go up and you'll know that, I remember this guy. You remember we met? Or y'all establish a relationship. Because I've established many relationships through just playing basketball.
Yeah, you never know
And
who
all
you're
my
gonna meet.
friends who I came out here when I was playing basketball, they're doing amazing right now.
Yeah. Issa Rae says that. She says you need to network across, not up.
Yeah. Yeah, because then I think you're like, it's like, you're like, come on, man.
Because they don't really need to help
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think
But
you
it's
have
like
to.
if everyone's like working together, building together. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. So, but yeah, I like your story because it doesn't, it says you're very talented, you're very hardworking,
Thank
um,
you.
and it doesn't need to take 20 years to make it. And then you also is being honest about, you don't have the story where it's I slept in my car for, you know.
That's really just honestly God. I'm so grateful and I don't take that for granted at all. I think I also just come from a great like foundation. Like I don't take it for granted that I have an option to go back home. Some people don't. You know, I can easily go back home. My room is there, my mom is there, my house is there.
They probably tell you to come home with too.
Yeah, but my mom's pretty supportive. She's like,
Yeah.
it's fine. I know that's where you want to be. It's cool. But had I really had just decided to give up, I could have easily gone back home, gone back to my regular life. And that was also another thing I thought about. And I think I also tell like my friends or just anybody that's like needs encouragement.
Right.
If you know it's gonna be there, then why not go?
Right.
Like why not just take the risk? If you know like you still have your like soft place to fall, then why not just go try to
That's very
fly?
true. That's very. And I think that's. I found that in part of my journey too. Like before even committing myself to just being like a full-time trainer, coach, or whatever, I was selling cars and I was making great money selling cars.
I saw your video, yeah.
And but I was like, you know what? If I did all this in 2 years and I made this type of money in 2 years, I can always come back to this.
Yeah.
So I have to jump out there. And I didn't start really going after my goals and dreams about my later 20s, before I found like success in the things I love to do. So I think taking a risk is important.
You have to take
a risk. You gotta take a risk.
You have to.
So what else you got going on outside of that? Did I miss anything? I felt like we talked. You got many talents. You talked about you as an entrepreneur.
Miss anything? No.
Anything coming up?
Everything coming up. I feel I took like a little like month off of just like anything creative. I didn't like edit a video. I didn't film anything.
Really?
I didn't submit. Just like also not being a creative, but being a human. Like emotions are real. Like
do you do any like meditation or you do?
I meditate. I journal. I pray.
Yeah.
I live alone, so it's pretty quiet all the time. So I'm always like able to think clearly and just be in silence.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, we've interviewed a few people for you, and through everyone's journey, the core of them overcoming their struggles is like meditation.
Has to be, or just like any type of spiritual like center in general. And I noticed that for me, when life really starts to get rocky and like stuff is like, what is happening? It's because I've fallen off of my spiritual like center. So
I'm with you on that one.
So I just had to take some time to just get back on it. And honestly, you have to like, you can't be working all the time.
So how you feeling now after your month off?
I feel so good. I'm so energized. Like I'm like ready to go. And now my little cousin, she was here, but now she's gone. And I loved having her here. But it's just like, okay, now I got to get back to work for real.
So now your work is you fully actress content? For
sure. But definitely acting right now is a little bit slow because of the strike.
Okay.
But content creation, absolutely, and video editing.
Okay. Nice. So you ain't looking to do any acting no time soon. We can't.
We'll see what happens with this strike. I can't do it.
I hope it works out for you guys.
I think so too. I think it'll work out. I hope so. I don't know.
No, I don't think it have a. I don't want to say you don't have a choice. They don't have a choice.
No, we don't have a choice but to wait.
But to wait. No, I'm saying it doesn't have a choice to work out.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to like
It's either they throw away all human actors and just switch to AI, or they pay people what they're worth. So it just depends what the people want to do.
They should pay people what they're worth.
They should
pay people what they're worth. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Do you let people know where to follow you?
On social media, on all platforms, Chaniceball.
All right, there you have it. The lovely, talented Chanice Ball.
Bye.